having logging in, just like we've been doing, or just like presented here. And registration was done yesterday. And so we are going to check in where individually. And then after check-in, we shall have a brief about the workshop objectives, like I said. And then we shall have, this might be during the course of the day. The opening remarks might come in the course of the day as the stakeholders get in. And then that means we skip it a bit. And so then we shall have getting our, to know about the GPU and the team that we work with. And then we shall have identification of our objectives and fears, like I said. Then we dive into the core theme of the day, which is understanding feminism, evolution of feminism. Then we explore the feminist principles. Then we get into the transformative feminist leadership using the Gauss methodology. And then we call it a day.
So two people have, thank you, Grace, for that clarification and for that insight. Yeah, 3 people now. We shall need the volunteer who will take us through the fears, and then another one take us through the expectations. So you can raise up, and then you say that you're taking us in either fears or expectations. Then we move faster. But you can start with these few fears that we have, as maybe we wait for more.
Okay, thank you, Frank. So I see 4 people have shared their fears. The first person said they fear that there will be internet issues. The other one is, my fear is many females cannot access this information, even the land ends fall into problems while ignorant about their rights. There is the fear of network problems may disturb our sharing. My fear is that feminism may cause women to lose their fundamental responsibility as female persons. They will try to fit in where they cannot handle. I think those are the 4 that was shared. Can I go ahead and also share the expectations, Frank?
Yes, yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I see the expectations are 6. The first person said great interaction with the team. I really expect to learn a lot from all participants. I expect to reach out to many ladies after these 2 days and answer their questions about gender equality and equity. My expectation is to learn how women challenges can be addressed in order to overcome them. Time management should be a priority, and I also expect knowledge. I expect to know that feminism is I expect to know feminism in a nutshell. That was all about the expectations.
We're young people's hub based in Apache district. That is where our head office are. We support young people's movement, we support young people's organization, we support young activists, we support advocates, we support every person that really is making sure that the social justice is being achieved in the community. We support someone who is trying to eradicate poverty. We support young people's organization that are really trying to save the environment. We support young people that are making sure that the gender equality is achieved, and that's why we have a feminist lens in one of our principles as GP. So global platform is a space for young people. You can even see on my screen, it's a space for young people. They come together to innovate, to rethink about the issues that are happening in the community, to think about the injustices that are happening, the solutions together, and then we campaign, and then we see how we can have a world that is free of poverty, a world that is free of injustices, a world that is really organized, and we see that it is a fair and a just world. Yeah. So global platform, like I said, it is a network, and what we usually do is we connect young people from different areas. Like now we have people from Kumi and Gul. So now you've connected, you've networked. At the end of the day, it is part of our objective to see that at least people in Kumi and people in Guru have connected, because they have the same interests of fighting for injustices, fighting for gender equality, making sure that the GBV in the communities is being stopped at the university, sexual harassment at the universities, marks for grades. We get the voices, we get the young feminist movements in these universities, like you're here. Like some of you saying that you want to understand the difference between feminism and the equality. So today we are going to understand all those dynamics and the theories around it. So we have a structure that govern the global platform, where we have young people manager called David Moses Okelo, based here in Kampala, and then we have the global platform manager who is who oversees most of our work, called Primus Baija. I think most of you have seen him on TVs, maybe you've talked to him via phone calls. Yeah. And then we have impact and learning coordinator who is with us here. He makes sure that the trainings are on. He makes sure that people get to understand what GP is. People get the impact of the hub. People get to know that the trainings are on, the campaigns are on. Young people are happy. Young people are enjoying the space, and he sees that there is an impact at the end of the day. And he's the person who, before the training happens, makes sure that he looks at its impact. He evaluates it before we kick off. And then we have an associate trainer who is not with us. He's another meeting called David Nyaribi. So one of our approaches is that we inspire, like I said. The platform is there to inspire, to engage young people through participatory and action-oriented learning spaces like now. We make sure that after the discussions, young people go and act upon these activities that they have talked about in a creative way. They organize the community, they do dialogues, they do trainings, they do a lot of things. And of course, we make sure that young people connect to each other, like what we are doing now across all the borders, the movements, the activists, human rights activists, advocates, we connect them. So that is the global platform. And the platforms, you can see there is Senegal, there is Tanzania, Kenya, Thailand, Nepal, Jordan, Greece, Palestine, Ethiopia, Ghana, Nigeria, So this is where the global platforms are. Even if you check on your browser, you can see the global platform. So we have the principles as the global platform that really govern us, that really give us directions in whatever we are doing. And I will just wrap up these ones so that we get into our energizer and we get to ask some few questions. Yeah. The one is a participatory method. For us, we learn together. We make sure that young people, we make sure that young movement organizations learn together, and every day in our trainings, we make sure that if we are here, if there is something that we should learn on, we learn together. We've organized this training of the university leaders on this particular topic. So that means it is participatory, and in the morning you saying about the expectation. Everyone was having a chance to say his expectation, his fear, her fear. So that is really our first principle. And we have political empowerment. We do political empowerment, we do economic empowerment, and we analyze, and then we change the power structures. We talk about the power dynamics. We talk about the shifting power to young people. All the things that at the end of the day, you're going to know about this, because we have where we're going to be talking about change, we're going to be talking about power analysis. So you're going to get to dive into deeper into the power and change. So we learn by doing. Doing is that we act, we reflect, and we learn, we apply. We usually do action plans at the end of the day, at the end of the training. What are you going to do on? What have you reflected on? What is happening in your university? What is happening in Kumi? What is happening in Guru University? Is it sexual harassment? Is it people are not studying? Is it like there is no resources? So you then you think around, you reflect around those things, and then you see how can we approach this. So after knowing all those things, and after doing the action plan, and then you've strategized and who you need on board, now there is what we call public action learning. And then public action learning is that we take society as our classroom. Just like now, like before the outbreak of COVID, we would we have a training hub in a patch, like I said, where we are located. So that is our classroom. And you've heard about community engagement, community outreaches. So we take that side to go and learn from them, and also we learn from each other. So we use the society as our classrooms. And then there's a feminist lens. I think this is why even we are here, and everyone's expectation is to know about feminism, patriarchy, inequalities. How can we dismantle the biases? How can we have the inclusion? How can we see that every person is accountable? How can we make people aware? All those things of the self-care. So today, I think the 2 days workshop is going to give you a bigger picture of what feminism is, and it is one of our principles. Yes, there is what we call dreaming big. Dreaming big is after now this training, or even you're a leader, in 5 years, what do you want to see? In 2 years to come, what do you want to see as a young leader, as a woman MP, as the secretary, as someone who heads the university? What do you want to see? What is that idea? What is your imagination of the university? What is your imagination of the university leadership? Like, that is what we call dreaming big. Yeah, and that is what a global platform is. We do capacity building. We are into humanitarian work also. We make sure that our refugees also get access to these platform and get to know what is happening. We give them a chance because we as Action Aid, we work for the poor and we work for the marginalized, and we don't discriminate. We respect human rights and we respect everyone, regardless of the race, sex, orientation, gender. So that is the global platform, Uganda and elsewhere.
Hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I was like, do this global platform, do they deal with GBV, like gender-based violence kind of things? Do they handle such cases? How about women who are women's rights, women who are being mistreated by their husband? How do you handle such cases as this platform concern?
Yes, thank you, Beatrice. So at Action Aid, we have what we call GBV shelters, and the GBV shelters have people who give the psychosocial. We have lawyers, we have legal team that make sure that if a survivor approaches and if we see something as the GP in the community, and then we refer them to these Action Aid GBV shelters where the legal team is, and makes sure that the survivor gets justice that she deserves in the community. Yeah, there is a women access to justice. It is a component at Action Aid, and at women's rights, it is our first priority to see that women are respected and we see that the injustices against women and girls are stopped and not happening again in the community. Yeah, so what we do as young people, we identify these people and then we refer them to the GBV shelters, the gender-based violence shelters that Action Aid has established in Elila, Guru. We have shelters in Nebi, we have shelter in Bwaise here in Kampala, Kumi, there is a shelter there, Katakwi. So we have shelters in different places. Yes, I hope I've answered you, Beatrice.
Yeah, thanks so much. I've understood.
I have the ball.
I put it here. I put it here.
I put it here.
I put it here.
I put it here.
I put it here.
Then I pepeta.
I pepeta. I pepeta.
I pepeta.
I pepeta.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Just like for us to at least to smile and see each other. You can even see Jen was really tired. You can see he's stretching. So that is the essence of this energizer, and see that our smiles are back on. Yeah. So Goret, you can take on.
We have our introduction. Yes, I can see the screen. Introduction to feminism, and on this part, as I said, I want to go introduce myself. Like I'm Mary Goretti. Currently, I'm working with an organization called Asker Center for Skills Development, and we're located here in Ikumi. In Ikumi, we are serving the districts of Soroti, Bukidia, Katakwi, Ngora, and the other neighboring districts. So I'm also a community facilitator, and currently I'm doing my master's with the University of John Morris, that is in Liverpool, online, and I'm doing leadership with education. So that is the course I'm undertaking. I'm a very unapologetic feminist when it comes to issues of women's rights, gender. I'm very apologetic. I don't just owe anybody an apology, especially when people are addressing women as inferior. I don't apologize to that, and I don't take things for granted,
especially when we are discussing about issues of women. We want to look at understanding the theoretical, philosophical, and worldview of feminism. We really need to understand this. How did the feminism come into existence? Was feminism did it start from the Bible? Was it there during Jesus's time? So feminism started during the 21st century. So I want us to look through that. So Frank, maybe you can scroll down. Frank, you scroll. Yes, I want us to look at evolution of feminism. How did the feminism start? And we want to say, maybe before I even go any further, I first want to hear our own understanding of feminism. What do you understand by the term feminism? Or when you received a call from Regina that we're organizing for training for feminism, what came into your mind? What are those, misperceptions that people have towards, feminism, towards feminists? When I introduce myself as a feminist, what comes into your mind immediately? I say I'm a very unapologetic feminist. What comes into your mind? So as I told you earlier, I want this session to be a very interactive session, very participatory. I don't want to talk to myself. I'm talking to people who are, who have a lot of skills, who have a lot of knowledge, who have a lot of experiences. And I know most of us may, maybe you've been living a feminist, but you didn't know. So I would like to hear from us. What do you understand by the term feminism, or what comes into your mind when I say Gorette is a feminist? Yes, I can see Deogracious' hand is up. Yes, Deogracious, go ahead.
Thank you so much. To me, I hope I'm heard.
Yes, you are.
I understand feminism has the advocacy for women's rights on the ground of the equality of all sexes.
Wow. Thank you so much. And if you can also write on the chat box, so it's okay. I will go through that. I'll read. Thank you so much, Deogracious, for that wonderful definition, advocacy of women's rights, for equality for all. Thank you. Any other person? You can also feel free to write in the chat box if you can't speak. I can see somebody on the chat. Somebody called Jacob Justin is saying feminism is a movement whose quest is to have gender equality. Thank you so much. Yes, Beatrice, you can come. Then I have I have Winfred saying feminism standing up for women's rights and in society. Thank you. Rebecca is saying advocacy for gender balance. Thank you so much. Then I have another person here who have not read. We have let me check here. Yes, the thing, those are the things standing up for women's rights and in society. Yes. So yes, France, Beatrice, you need to say something. Maybe she can't. So thank you so much, everybody who has participated and who has given a definition of feminism. And maybe Frank, I want to request you prepare for us a slide where people can read the misperceptions about feminism. Then maybe I'll be in the position to go through that. So I want us to, I want to give a brief, introduction and background about feminism. How did it come in place? And then we see how we can move forward. So I want to say here, feminism, as you've said, is an ideology that believes in equality for all. Feminism is not about fighting men. Feminism is about challenging patriarchy. And what do we mean by patriarchy? Patriarchy is about male dominion, where the men are sitting on tables and discussing issues of women, where everything is about men, where the heirs of the family should be boys, where, the people who should cook for the men are the girls, are the women. The people to take care of the sick are the women. The people to bury the dead are the women. The people to dig the graves are the men. So it's about, that ideology, which is about, fighting for equality for all. As I said, everybody is equal in the eyes of God. We are all born equal and nobody is inferior to the other. So when you look at feminism, we want to say feminist theories that it actually emerged, the first emerged early in 1794 in publications such as Evolution of Women's Rights by Mary Wilson. So realize that this thing started in 1794. Even when before our four grandparents were born, is when feminism started. It's not something that came up in the first century. So this feminism came in by the title called A Changing Woman. And A Changing Woman, this is a woman, she's called Mary Wollstonecraft. She was arrested because of voting. So you remember in 1794, during those days, women were not allowed to vote. So we have a woman who called Mary Wollstonecraft. For her, she went and voted. But this Mary was arrested for exercising her right for voting. So after this lady was released in jail, she came up with a speech for illegal voting. And the title of the novel was called The Changing Woman. And this changing woman, it gave a credit for a woman who in the end was recognized. So we realized that feminism, when you talk about feminism, it did not just start today. It started a long time ago. And that is how it kept on evolving. So when you hear the evolution of feminism in Africa, and why feminism? Why do we need feminism today? Why do we need feminists? Why should feminism be a thing of living? So when you continue reading about the story, that this changing woman gave credit to a woman who in the end populated the word feminism. So you realize in 1851, another lady came in to address the issues of women's rights, and it was done through her publication. And this is also a novel, an address of the way the women's rights were violated. So this lady called also Samothrace Truth addressed the issue of women having limited rights due to men's flag perception of women. So realize that feminism, the women, the women discrimination, the women injustices we were not really facing in Africa, but it was all over the world. So he also realized that, and Truth urged that if a woman of color can perform tasks that were supposedly limited to men, then any woman of color would do that. So these women came together and said, yes, if a white woman can do this, then an African woman can do this. Because the difference is their color. I'm black and you're white. Maybe I'm black and you're red, you're brown red, or you're red white. So it was just that difference that gave it to us into that speech. So also in 1872, after the arrest for illegal voting, a number of women came in to stand in solidarity with Mary and Anthony. They said, no, if men can do this, they started raising up the questions of why women are accountable to be published under law and punished. So realize that during those days, women, even if you just answered your husband wrongly, if he called you and you responded badly, there is the way they in the terms badly, they would still arrest you, they would still punish you, they would still they'll still jail you for such response. So women came into place and said, no, I think what we are doing is wrong, because we want to relate it to the Bible. The Bible says God created humans in his own image. So who are these people to say the women are inferior and the men are better than them? So we look at into such things, and when you look at the evolution of feminism in Africa, feminism in Africa came into when we have a number of women that came from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Kenya, from the rest, from all over the world. These women came together and they said, okay, if a woman of color can do this, why not Africa? But remember, in Africa, we have traditions that limited women participation. And the traditions were designed by people. And the traditions were designed in the way that women were made inferior. Women were made not to believe in themselves. Women were made to be subordinates to the men. So women were, the work of women were just to say yes to everything, whether it affected them emotionally, physically, psychologically, their role was to say yes. So when you look at in Africa, where a number of women came to say, no, I think we need to recognize this. So in Africa also, it is how it started. The Chimamandas of Nigeria started to say, no, I think we need to do ABCD. We need to do this to make people understand that women can do this. Women can handle all kinds of things. So when I want us to say, when you talk about feminism, it's about protecting the rights of the diverse women in Africa. So when you look at, yes, Frank, you can go ahead and share that. So when you look at this thing, our transformative vision of a just world free from poverty, oppression, and patriarchy. So feminism is about addressing patriarchy. And what is the patriarchy? Patriarchy is about saying, okay, Gorati, you sit down. When your husband comes back and he gets you seated in a chair, you should stand up, give him a chair to sit, you go and sit down. That is the patriarchy. So it requires a transformative feminist leaders who enable others to lead, building power with them instead of over them. So feminism is about having the equal opportunities. It is not about fighting men. Feminism is not about fighting culture. Feminism is not about women are equal than men, like women are better than men. No. Feminism is about having an equal balance whereby everybody lives free from patriarchy, chart of African feminists, and it has its own guiding things, which says the African Feminist Forum took place from 15th to 19th November 2006 in Accra, Ghana. The meeting brought together over 100 feminist activists from all over the world and the region of the diaspora. And this space was designed just to see how do we protect African women who are being marginalized? How do we protect African women who are being discriminated? Not only women, but girls. So you realize that this African Charter, the first sitting in Africa, the first evolution in Africa, started in 2006 in Accra, Ghana. So this conference attracted a number of women, including the white women. They came into Accra, and for them, their key outcome was the key outcome of the forum was to adopt the Charter of Feminist Principles, which was agreed by the regional working group for the forum. So they needed to have a guiding tool. Even when I stand up in a platform, when I'm given up an opportunity to say something about women and girls, I have a reference point to. And in Africa, our reference point to is to the Feminist Charter. That is what I wanted us to, to clarify before I go into the in-depth discussion of mine today. I have told you about the evolution of how feminism came into Africa, how the charter came into. So when you look at this charter, in that charter in Accra, Ghana, there are a number of things that came into place. There are a number of things that were designed. And we said, for us to be African feminists, we need to have ethics that guide us. And in ethics, that charter is called naming ourselves as feminists. What do we gain when we name ourselves as feminists? We say, we define and name ourselves publicly as a feminist simply because we celebrate our feminist identities and politics. We recognize that the work of fighting for women's rights is deeply political, and the process of naming is political. I'm so happy that we are going to talk about the political space here. We look at when you look at that charter, we have ethics that guide us. We have the individual ethics, and we have the institutional ethics. And as individual ethics, we are committed to and believe in gender equality based on our guiding principles. Gender equality. That is what I need to share us on individual things. So I want us to look at is institutional ethics on African Charter on Feminism. And we say, as a feminist organizations like Action Aid, like Akina Mama, we commit to the following: advocating for openness, transparency, equality, accountability in feminist-led institutions and organizations. There should be accountability, transparency in anything you're doing. There should be transparency. The feminist leadership, we say, as leaders in the feminist movement, we recognize that feminist agency has popularized the notion of women as leaders. We have to recognize that women are leaders. We must accept the fact. And as the feminist leaders, we are committed to making a critical difference in leadership. That is why we have the transformative feminist leadership that we have today, that Regina is going to talk about.
Yes, please.
Yes,
I
yes.
was just trying to supplement on something about women empowerment. Sometimes this thing is brought about by the ruralities, our upbringing. Sometimes when a man brings up a woman when he has not planned for it. Then the stress is giving to the woman. The children are also adapting the same stress, that this is how daddy used to treat us children. So we grow up in a family where we know that this is a way we are supposed to treat women. Just because our father did not plan for his marriage, maybe he married when he was not ready, or he made the lady pregnant when he never had money, he had not planned for it actually. So we, the children that are raised, we grow in that atmosphere where we know that always a woman doesn't have a right. So a man will bring his stress from another field to bring to a lady. Just because you cannot reason that a woman has the same right like a man. That's what I wanted to supplement. Thank you.
I really like what you presented, and I would like to supplement on that by saying that actually school has gotten a very big role to play in feminist leadership. Because we realize that it's educated children who actually have that opportunity to get exposed to this leadership, and they can get a chance to make good decisions in their life. Because when you go back in African traditional society, men have been actually been exposed to exploiting women. I mean, they've been having that culture of seeing superiority among them. And when you go in school, you realize that you get an opportunity to break these chains of superiority and so on. And I really think that if you educate a child, you give that child the power to really realize that she has gotten a role to play for her life. So I'm really thinking that the girl child should actually have these opportunities coming right out from school, primary, secondary, and even campus, so that even after school, this girl sees that she has gotten a chance to make decisions even after not being at the mercy of the man. Yeah, that's what I want to say. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for today's training. Really a great beneficiary of this training. I've seen scenarios, actually it's in my family, that we are born girls and our education has really affected my father's name, like they call him, was bewitched, was what, and it's a wastage of money and so on. But we have seen this as a change, because if you're educated and you're a girl, try to bring that difference, try to show that it makes sense when you're educated. We've seen scenarios where after studying, girls want to turn up to tarnish the name, the image of education, as far as girls' education is concerned. I really take this to my fellow girls, my fellow ladies who have attended this training. Take it as a teaching. They're teaching you, go out there, behave the way education should have molded you into an important person. Another thing is, I urge you, my fellow students who are here in this training, can we make it like, if we go back to school, can we make a move? Can we make groups and go to the community and teach them? When I was young, I used to see campus students used to come, they used to teach us, they used to teach about abortion. Can we go and teach these things to the community? Because they need to know. As here we have known who a feminist is, what feminist means, but people out there, parents, are still ignorant about feminism. We need to teach them.
For feminism to come into effect in these communities, we need to bring men on board. We need to teach them what their women can do. Because if we only teach women and we leave men, men will not allow their women. Okay, men don't understand that their women can do what we are talking about. Therefore, I love what you've done today. Whenever we are having this kind of trainings, let's bring in men so that they are the ones to talk to their ladies. When they understand what it means, then it is easy. They cannot go back into their ladies when these ladies get what this one means. Then also, at most times we need to bring in the cultural leaders, because I was looking at someone who had posted that sometimes we have gone to believe that feminists are the women that have lost culture. Therefore, even these cultural leaders have to get to know what we are fighting for. Then we also need to have radio talk shows, the local radio talk shows, so that even old people in the villages get to know. At most times, these people listen their radios together, including their women, including the children. they join up together and listen to these videos. Sorry, these presentations on radio talk shows. I think this would really do well for us. Thank you so much.
Saying that I may not mention your name now, sorry, so that I keep time. They're saying in other aspects, African traditional society claims that the bride price paints off the rights of women, but it's wrong. It only brings you on board officially to contribute both practically and ideally. I want to say the issue of bride price is a choice. I know the cultures are very strong about issues of bride price, but things have been married. If you want your bride price paid or not, I think you have a choice. The aspect of human rights is not one that fixes us to be paid for. And then they're saying, besides, if you stand for equality, you are a feminist, according to Emma Watson. Thank you for that compliment.
I told you that you know, we have different kinds of feminism, and all the feminists, when you see the radical ones, you know where they fall. When you see the liberal people, you know where they fall. When you see the, the Marx, you know where they, because every feminism is derived from the experiences that people have lived.
I'm discussing the different principles of feminism. We are going to talk majorly on Action Aid's 10 principles. There are other principles of feminism, but all of them are actually interrelated. So today we are going to focus mainly on the ones that Action Aid has, and I want to.
Because I believe leaders will perform their work without blame. Yes, if you apply these principles in your work as a leader, you are non-discriminative, you're including everybody, you take care of yourself, you take care of other people. Yeah, definitely you will be in line.
I just want to say that these principles are linked to the ethics I shared to you on African Charter. But what is important is when you look at self-awareness, self-care, dismantling bias, all this come into the individual basis, whereby you yourself personally, you need to understand yourself. What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? What is that thing that you're selling to the public? What is that thing that you're selling outside your body? So when you get to know that what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, is when you're able to understand that these principles are really, we live to them. And we also have to realize that these principles just don't come into by mistake. They are designed in the way that people have lived experiences on this. So when you're talking about courage as a leader, as a young leader there outside, as a leader in the university, what is that courage that you have to articulate issues of affecting young people? If you're in local government, in our family, what is the motive you have? So basically, in order for us to achieve in all the principles to live this, we need to start from our communities. We need to change our attitudes, change the attitudes of our communities, from our families. Then we can move to the outside. Basically, that is what I want to share. Thank you so much, Lucy.